Your nervous system doesn't obey force, it breaks under it. The harder you clench, the more your vagus nerve shuts down executive function, literally freezing your choices. Real control doesn't start with a grip. It begins in the unclench. We are taught that discipline means holding tighter. We are told that mastery requires a white-knuckle grip on every variable. So we brace. We tighten our shoulders. We lock our jaws. We try to steer the storm by holding the wheel with both hands until our knuckles bleed. But water cannot be commanded by a fist. You cannot force clarity. You cannot wrestle chaos into order. The moment you squeeze, you lose the very thing you are trying to hold. Watch what happens when you stop fighting the current. Notice how the water moves around the rock. It does not argue with the stone. It flows. It yields. And in yielding, it carves the canyon. This is not surrender. This is strategy. This is the architecture of true command. You think strength is tension. You mistake rigidity for resilience. But a tree that does not bend breaks in the wind. The root system survives because it knows when to release its grip on the surface soil and reach deeper into the dark. Let us examine what happens when you let go. Not in defeat. In design. The forest floor teaches this lesson quietly. Leaves fall. Branches shed their weight. The earth receives them without judgment. Nothing is wasted. Everything returns. You must learn to do the same with your own resistance. The mind operates like a room with a closed window. When you press against the glass, you only fog it. You block the view. You trap the heat inside. You suffocate your own perspective. The ancient architects understood this. They built courtyards open to the sky. They left space between the pillars. They knew that light requires emptiness to enter. Consider your own thoughts right now. They are circling. They are heavy. You are trying to solve them by adding more pressure. You are stacking stone on top of stone, building a wall instead of a window. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. Not a list of rules. A posture. A way of standing. When you drop the weight you were never meant to carry, your spine straightens. Your breathing slows. The fog clears. You stop fighting the architecture of your own mind. You step back from the glass. You open the window. And what do you see? You see the problem clearly. You see the path. You see that the tension was never protecting you. It was paralyzing you. The fist that tries to hold the river ends up empty. The hand that rests open on the bank catches the current. It directs it. It works with it. This is the first shift. You stop pulling. You stop pushing. You allow the world to move through you. You become the conduit, not the dam. The dam breaks under pressure. The channel guides it. Choose the channel. We live in an age of constant friction. Screens demand our grip. Deadlines demand our posture. Opinions demand our defense. We are trained to react before we breathe. We are taught that hesitation is weakness. But hesitation is the space where wisdom lives. Listen to the silence before the storm. It is not empty. It is full of potential. The arrow does not fly because the bowstring is pulled tight forever. It flies because it is held, then released. The tension is temporary. The flight is permanent. You are confusing the bowstring for the arrow. You are living in the pull, never in the release. The ancients practiced negative visualization. They did not do it to fear loss. They did it to release attachment. They looked at what they held, and they imagined it gone. Then they realized they were still whole. They realized the grip was the illusion. The object was never theirs to begin with. Only the moment was theirs. Only the breath was theirs. When you unclench, you do not lose control. You return it to its source. You stop trying to steer every wave. You learn to read the tide. You learn to adjust the sail. You become the navigator, not the oarsman. This is the difference between exhaustion and endurance. One burns the body. The other preserves it. One fights the current. The other uses it. You will resist this. The mind hates the open hand. It wants the certainty of the fist. It wants to believe that if it squeezes hard enough, nothing will slip away. But certainty is an illusion. Control is an agreement. You agree to focus only on what you can touch. You agree to release what you cannot. This is not passive. This is precise. It is surgical. You cut away the excess. You drop the imaginary weights. You stop carrying tomorrow's weather in your pockets today. Look at your hands right now. Are they curled? Are they tense? Unfold them. Let them rest on your knees. Feel the weight leave. Feel the shoulders drop. This is the practice. Not a grand gesture. A quiet correction. The body leads the mind. The breath follows the posture. When you unclench the jaw, you unclench the thought. When you soften the brow, you soften the worry. The nervous system is listening. It is waiting for the signal that the threat has passed. Give it the signal. You do not need to fight to win. You only need to align. You do not need to hold everything together. You only need to release what is already falling apart. Let the unclench be your daily discipline. Not once. Continuously. The wind returns. The noise returns. The world will ask for your grip again. Do not brace. Return to the breath. Return to the open palm. The river does not remember the rock. It simply flows around it. You will do the same. You will stop trying to change the shape of the mountain. You will learn to walk the path at its base. The greatest structures in history were not built on tension. They were built on balance. The arch holds because it distributes weight. It does not hoard it. It shares the load with the ground. It trusts the foundation. You must trust your foundation. You must trust the quiet. You must trust that less force yields more direction. This is how you walk through fire without burning. This is how you stand in the storm without breaking. You stop holding. You stop forcing. You simply remain. You become the still point. You become the space between the strike and the response. You become the unclenched hand that guides the ship. Control begins in the unclench. The river does not rush. The mountain does not strain. You are neither. You are the observer. You are the quiet. You are the release.